My name is Mitch Benner, and we started this podcast to remove the stigma around sobriety from addiction.
My name is Aaron Nelson. Through our stories and the stories of our guests, we hope to help you find a new path.
All right, guys, welcome back to Shattered Darkness. I don't even know what episode this is. We're somewhere in the 20s, but so far we have had some incredible guests come on and share their stories, and it's been a really, really fun journey so far. I'm also today joined by my co-host Aaron. It's just him and I today.
Sup?
So today we are going to introduce what we feel are our 6 pillars to living a successful sober life. And so this is for the person that's still in addiction all the way to recovery, finding community and things like that. So these 6 pillars are basically how we are trying to live our life every day, and so we'll share them with you as we go through. And I kind of want to just spend some time on each one and talk a little bit about it and kind of how it applies to sobriety, how it applies to our lives, and kind of what the benefits are for these pillars. So
Here's an idea. What if we call this season 2?
We could.
And, focus on this for a little bit and then just kind of be constantly switching up for our guests.
Yeah, dude. I mean, so I like that. Like,
this could be 50 episodes, 60 episodes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because basically what we're trying to do is put a little bit more structure to the podcast and also offer the listeners something tangible, something that you guys can apply to your life, right? Something you can take away from here and use, and really apply. So, but yeah, dude, I think that's great. So as we move forward in season 2 of our podcast, which I actually kind of like that, we're going to use these pillars in our interviews, right? So we're going to ask people, was this applied in your process of getting sober? How are you using it today? So on and so forth. So, yeah, dude, that's kind of the basis for this episode. And we're also going to try to shorten these a little bit to about 45 minutes. We realize 2-hour episodes are hard to listen to and, just a lot of information in those. So really we're trying to be a little bit more intentional about what we're talking about, the questions that we're asking, and, just focusing on these 6 pillars that we believe will help you lead a sober life.
It's all for you because we love you.
Love you guys. So, and I just want to say thank you to the people that have listened so far that are supporting us. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it. We're getting to some pretty cool places with our Clean and Sober Connections group. You guys can find that on Facebook. We can also put a link in this episode, but basically that's just a community service group for our local communities. Just trying to get out of our own way, and go serve the community and do fun stuff and meet new cool people that are sober.
Be outside.
Yep. So anyways, all a part of our process of destigmatizing, normalizing sobriety where is it? Right there.
Oh, this guy.
Right there. Normalize it. That's what we're doing. So anyways, we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Obviously, if you're finding value in this, click subscribe, follow, like, share, all the good stuff. That helps our listenership and things like that. So here we go. You ready for this, dude?
Oh, man. Born ready, bro.
All right. Do you want to introduce our first pillar?
Yeah. So first thing, which I really think is the first thing to focus on in getting sober, is being vulnerable. Vulnerability is a big thing with it just leads into being honest with yourself. You don't have to have that shell, because if you're trying to get healthy, you kind of have to break through some things. And as corny as it is, I don't know if anybody knows what eagles go through. This
is not corny. This is actually crazy.
So what they do is, once they kind of get older or whatever, their beak and their claws get dull. So they have to fly somewhere and just bash their face in 100 times to break off that beak. And then with that new beak, once that regrows, they rip out all their claws. It's extreme a little bit, but knowing that you don't have to have that hard shell to shed it all and grow and be better.
I like that. So I went as far as, and I wrote some things on our first 3 pillars, but I actually defined vulnerability. I looked up the definition. So I'm going to give that to you guys. It's the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed either physically or emotionally. And I wrote this down. The Latin vulnerable comes from the Latin noun vulnus, which means wound. So I thought that was really interesting because obviously with vulnerability, you have to get to this place where you're willing to identify that wound. What is that wound? What is that trauma? What is that pain in your life that, has maybe caused you to go down this road? And I can remember for me personally in rehab, I was able to identify what that was, through vulnerability, through talking about my life and the decisions that I made. So
I think one of those things too, and I don't know, everybody's story is different. I don't think you notice it right away or know what it is.
No, I agree.
We had a guest on, asked her what was like the gateway drug, and she said trauma. It just like hit me. I was like, whoa, because I feel like alcohol is a gateway drug more than weed is.
Yeah,
and that's where we were going. But I think that is so profound because you might have buried it. Some people know it right away what it is, and they just won't acknowledge it, so they won't be vulnerable with that issue. So let me ask you, man, when you were going through that rehab, man, was it right away and you knew, or did you have to find it?
No, we had to talk through it. Like I remember sitting down with psychologists and psychiatrists, and therapists and all that kind of stuff, and just talking about my life, the mistakes that I made. It started for me as an adult, right? Like, what decisions are you making as an adult? Okay, let's take that and track that back to your past, right? So when we were kids, and dude, I want to preface this by saying I love my parents. Like, I'm taking full accountability for my life, but we did get spanked a lot when we were younger, which I think was normal at the time. But it kind of pre-programmed something in my self-conscious to where when I did something wrong, I was punished for it, right? So I took that into my adult life, and I was very self-deprecating, right? So I was able to, and I wouldn't necessarily call it trauma, but it was just those belief systems that get programmed into you, through experience, through whatever, and you start to believe certain things about yourself, right? I dealt with high amounts of anxiety and depression, didn't really know about it. I also had ADHD that was untreated. So all of those kinds of things led to who I became, right? So, and that's where I feel like if you're not willing to go sit down with somebody and talk through your life, you're never going to discover what is programmed into your subconscious because we don't know it's there. I didn't know this was there. And as soon as that was uncovered, it was like a light bulb, and I can honestly say I've only had maybe 5 or 6 really, really big light bulb moments in my life. And that was one of them, and it was just like, man, I'm treating myself this way because of the belief system, whatever was programmed into me. And vulnerability is the only way that I was able to get there, right? I was willing to be like, hey, this is everything.
I think that's big for recovery too. You have to come out of your shell
Absolutely.
And be open to it. It's not easy. No. But you're not as tough as you think you are. If you're
and I think that's
it's not a not being tough or not, you're not any less of a man by at least just having those in-depth conversations of what's going on.
Right.
You're not sitting there whining about problems.
I think it's more manly to, and whatever. Like, I just think it requires an incredible amount of strength to sit there, open yourself up to people being like, no, dude, this is not right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's hard. It's hard to get criticism in your life, especially in the day and age that we live in, where everybody has a platform to share their opinions and everybody feels like they're right. I mean, and it's
like
tough.
It's like a muscle,
Exactly.
It eventually just gets easier.
Yep. And so with that too, vulnerability, there's a lot of truth inside of that, right? And honesty. And I wrote some things down. Okay. So it says without this step, we lose the chance to be truly authentic with ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where we need to get is a place of authenticity where it's like, look, dude, it is what it is. I'm broken. I'm fucked up. I need help.
Yep.
Right. So it gives us a chance to be authentic with ourselves and then to be authentic with others. Right. And people are so attracted to that,
100%.
So, and that's the thing that we're trying to do, right? We're trying to attract, we're not trying to force people into this, right? Because this is step one because I feel like it's the hardest one. You know, it's the place of, I can't do this on my own anymore. I'm done, right? Like I need help. And that is true, honest vulnerability, right? And then you find some people that can speak into your life and, you know, psychiatrists, therapists, people that have been trained to kind of help you unwind these things. And that's where you start. That's why it's our first pillar.
What's funny about this too is I even struggle with this even now, right? Just not on alcohol, but on like professional wise. So I got hooked up with this group of entrepreneurs and business owners and stuff like that, and we pick someone each week or each meeting to dive into their business and see where we can help them. And I had to be vulnerable of like, yeah, we're doing good here, but I'm doing really shitty over here. So I had to be vulnerable and like, oh my God, I am standing in my own way,
right,
of growing and scaling,
right.
You know, so it's really cool because this is something that, we're going to do the easy part and get through sober or get sober. But then the hard part is just living your life and still maintaining those principles. Right. I got sober, kind of put that behind me and just went on. And I'm like, oh my God, there's so many spots where had I been a bit more vulnerable, asked for help, I'd probably be a little better off in certain areas.
Yeah. You know, and that's something I love that you brought up business, right? Because this is applicable to any part of your life. You know, if you're struggling with a spouse, things like that, it's hard to come to that person and be like, look, I messed all this stuff up. You know, I'm really sorry about this, you know, and the danger in all of this too, and I'm actually experiencing this in my life, right, is my expectation of people is to do the same thing, right? So I'm vulnerable. I'm admitting these things. My expectation I've noticed recently is like, okay, I'm admitting these. Like, what do you have to admit?
Oh man, the key to happiness is
right. So it's exactly
any expectations of anybody,
dude. And that's like, it's this tit for tat thing. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. So what are you doing? And I've realized that in myself. I'm like, man, that's fucked up. Right. Like I can't get in the way of other people's journey by pressing what I believe down their throat. You know what I mean? So that's the pitfall in this that I've recognized is once you start to make these changes in your life, you kind of have this expectation that everybody around you is going to do the same thing. And maybe you won't, you know, maybe you won't struggle with that.
You should have zero expectations of anybody.
It's hard for me, man.
And then you're never going to be disappointed.
It's extremely hard for me to get to that place.
I get having that with family or like wife, spouse, for example. But like, and I don't mean this in the way, I have zero expectations for you. Like if you bailed on this whole thing right now, I'd be happy and I'd be fine. I could just pick it up and go.
See, and that's where that's where it's like that Let Them theory by Mel Robbins. I'm diving into all of that right now because I need to, right? Like, it's not fair for me. I'm sitting on this microphone, like sharing these pillars, right? And sharing these belief systems and whatnot. And my expectation is that our podcast grows, right? We give some people something tangible. That's my expectation would be that this kind of grows and people latch onto it and, you know, they start applying it to their life and it works. Right. But if I do that, right, and that doesn't happen, now all of a sudden I've created that place in myself where I'm like the disappointment, you know, I'm a failure, all of that kind of stuff.
And that's hard because I listen to this dude, I know the answer is you cannot count on any single person to grow. And it's so hard because you should never blame anybody for anything. Take blame out of your vocabulary 100% on everything. Your children, the viewership, the numbers, it's 100% on you.
See, and
it's 100% on me.
Right.
You know,
I get what you're saying. It's extreme ownership.
Has his word. Yeah, sort of. I mean, I read the book too. Yeah, but I think I would take it a little bit different. Like, what can I do today to be 1% better on helping this? And it's like, shit, I didn't share this enough on social media. I didn't talk about this enough here. I didn't do this. I didn't do that to help this thing grow.
See, and that's funny because I feel like I'm a very results-driven person, you know, and I'm starting to learn all of these things about myself, right? Like I was so drunk for so long that I just didn't pay attention to any of it.
Right.
But anyway, so I don't want to get too far off the train of vulnerability, but
that's all part of being vulnerable. Though.
I agree. Yeah. And then having that, having no expectation, right? The only expectation that I feel like we should have is how we engage with the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. The expectations are within.
Right.
The blame is within. The awareness is within.
But it's hard, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, like because to be successful, it requires people latching onto this. Right. So that's where it's like, and my brain goes there. So I fight this one a lot. Right.
Mhm.
Like, and I would say I'm a very vulnerable person. I feel like I'm willing to put myself out there. I'm willing to tell you what my beliefs are. That is all space for wounds to happen. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's vulnerability. Right. So how do you find that? And it's being honest with yourself,
And people will follow that.
Yeah.
And if they're way more vulnerable or way more willing to follow someone like you than the suit and tie guy.
Yeah. And that's why, dude, even in it's authenticity, right? Like even inside of like our real estate business right now, I told my like I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Like that's what, and I've asked my clients, like, if I show up to a showing in t-shirt and jeans, how would you feel about that? Dude, we don't give a shit.
Right.
Like it's authentic. It actually kind of brings the whole thing down a notch.
Yeah.
And makes us feel a little bit more comfortable. So anyways.
But if your authentic self is suit and tie, then be suit and tie.
Right. Exactly.
Don't put on the suit and tie when you're a t-shirt guy.
Right. Yeah, totally. So anyways, vulnerability. Pillar number one. Super important. Google it, do some research on it. It's a very interesting word. If you really dive into it, there's a lot there. So, okay.
Number two, personal accountability.
Nailed it. Personal accountability. I think that obviously this ties to vulnerability, but I'm going to define it for you. Taking ownership and responsibility for your actions, choices, and the consequences that they lead to. That's the most important part. The consequences that they lead to, right? If my son goes to school and punches his friend in the face, that's my fault. I need to take accountability for that, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm not teaching him that punching people in the face is not the right thing to do.
It's certainly not the school's fault.
No, 100%. It's not. No, and it's not his fault either. He's emulating what he's seeing, right? That's personal accountability. I wrote this. This was just my thoughts on this. I said, in the day and age we live in, I feel as though very few people actually practice this. As a culture, we've allowed our emotions to control us. Almost every relationship we have at some point is going to disappoint you. People will always be flawed, and the closer the person, the more the pain. By taking ownership for our part, it allows compassion and empathy for others. It also releases you from their problems.
So you could get like super political with this super quick.
100%.
Especially this month that we're in, there's so much stuff going on and we're not even going there. But if there was a little more personal accountability in every single person that's out there on the street protesting something, just imagine the real conversations people could have. And now that translates to alcohol with when you're sitting there talking with people, the disagreement is so good.
And what I agree, dude. Charlie Kirk just did an interview with Bill Maher. It was awesome.
Oh,
Bill Maher's an atheist. Bill Maher's an atheist.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And Charlie Kirk is obviously very Christian. And it was a very interesting conversation. Neither one of them got after each other. It was just a difference in beliefs.
Right.
And it was a great structure. Right.
Well, even last episode with Joe Heisman, you guys
totally on the difference on faith. And that's at the end of the day, like, I love Joe, but if Joe wants to make those decisions for himself, dude, who the fuck am I to tell him he's doing it wrong?
And that there you can see so much of yourself in those conversations. Like if you're not willing to listen to the other side. Now, this is the thing where I'm getting with sobriety. I'm not talking about politics and shit. You kind of have to hear that other point of view and understand it.
You got and marinate on it.
Because you're obviously if you're sitting there and you've lost your life and everything's going away because of alcohol, you kind of have to hear some other perspectives and embrace it, not agree with it, not live by it, but just understand that and apply it to your own self.
Let me ask you a question. How long did you drink after you knew you needed to quit?
Oh, dude, by
years,
long time.
Yeah. Mine was at least 12 years, and that's the thing is like, I knew it was a problem, but I didn't take accountability. right? There was no personal accountability. There was no like, oh, I'm making these choices and this is the impact that it's having on the world around me. None of that. I didn't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
Right. I also went on to say this is where we become who we're meant to be, where we start to live on purpose. Right. When we start admitting the faults, admitting, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to run a podcast. I don't know how to produce a podcast. But you know what? We're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're running into a space that we don't know and we don't understand. And you know what? As soon as you introduce personal accountability, walls come down.
Yep.
Right. It's authentic. Right. So this is where repentance and personal growth starts to happen. This is where you start to see the issues in yourself. This is where you start to understand, holy shit, this is a problem. And this is this is how it's impacting the people around me. Imagine if we all start admitting our wrongs and pointing the finger only at ourselves. What would that open us up to?
Yep.
You know, especially in today's day and age. Could you imagine if people got on and shared their trauma on Facebook instead of their vacations? You know, I just think there would be an outpouring of love and support. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm a part of these huge sober networking things on Facebook where people post like, hey, 3 years sober, this is my story. They post like a picture of them when they're super fucked up and then one when they're, today.
Oh man, if you guys are listening to this,
dude, you should see the comments on some of this. Some of it's they're trolling, some of it's bullshit. But dude, it is hundreds of comments of love.
You guys, if you're listening and you really want to do that, go on Facebook, look up Angie Turley. She was one of our guests. She does this all the time. It's incredible.
Yeah. And so it's cool, dude. And think about like those people that are putting those posts out, right? Like they're taking accountability for what they did.
Yep.
Right. What they're receiving is the exact opposite of everything that we're afraid of. Right. We're afraid that we're going to be judged. We're afraid that we're going to be shoved in a corner. We're afraid that people are going to look at us and be like, oh my God. It's the exact opposite, dude. I'm telling you, there is this massive community of people that just love and support.
We'll let everybody know a little secret on that note too. When you walk to the store, you're getting judged. The way you drive, you're getting judged.
Right.
Like someone out there is looking at you when you're out in public. They're judging you for something.
Dude, and also I love these 2 first steps because it releases you from that fear, right? Of like what people think of you. It starts to release you from that and then it opens you up to like, okay, who am I? Mm-hmm. Right? What am I capable of? And you find some positive outlet, and you just start to do things that serve other people, things like whatever, So
that's a good point too, because you find out who you are instead of finding what everybody else says you are.
So this was really cool too. I found this on Google, but the benefits of personal accountability can improve mental health, build trust, lead to meaningful relationships. It can also boost your productivity, help you set realistic goals, and manage your time. Mm-hmm. So it's paramount. It's paramount, and especially in the world that we live in today, where it is so fucking easy to blame other people for everything, and it's rare to do this. So
because they just sit there and it's easy to pick on other people instead of dive inside.
Right. And now we have platforms for it. Right. And now you've got an opportunity to go put whatever the fuck you want on social media. Right. Your words are powerful. Your words impact people. Right. So how are we going to impact people with our words? Are we going to do it negatively or are we going to do it positively? So, and I think it starts with personal accountability. It's the only way we can pour positivity into the world.
Yep.
Okay. Number 1, vulnerability. Number 2, personal accountability. This next one is big. I think that it's pretty obvious, but faith is number 3. And again, I'm defining these things for you, right? Faith in its essence is a strong belief in something. It doesn't have to be God. It doesn't have to be
your God, my God.
It doesn't have to be Jesus Christ. I'm not here to shove my religion down your throat and my belief system. Often without conclusive proof and a commitment to that belief, even in the face of uncertainty, right? It's living outside of yourself. It's living for something that's bigger than you, right? It could be, actually, I wrote this down. What are you willing to die for?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I would say your belief system is. What hill are you willing to die on? And I'm talking physically die for. You know, and that's a hard question to answer, you know, and to be honest with you, I believe so much in the love of Jesus and the life of Jesus that I would die for it, you know, and so I would die for my brother. I would die for humanity if I had to, right? That's where my heart lies. I would die for my family, right? So if I would do that for my family, everything else should be easy, right? So that's where I feel like whatever it is that you're willing to put your life on the line for is the one thing that you believe in the most.
What got you through? What was your faith through sobriety and rehab?
Honestly, it was my family, dude. It was my daughter. It was the motivation when it started was I didn't want my kids to see me that way, dude. I didn't want to be a statistic, you know. And my daughter looks exactly like me, acts exactly like me. She's me. One of my children will struggle with this, right? And for me, it was get clean. And, you know, my wife also gave me an ultimatum. That was really motivating. You know, I didn't want to get divorced. But, dude, at the end of the day, faith. I've always had faith in Jesus Christ. I've always had faith that he came, died on the cross for our sins, and died for us. You know, and this is going to sound extremely arrogant, but I feel like I've always had a very good grasp on that, right? On that sacrifice, on humanity, right? Like what Jesus did for humanity. And I've always kind of identified with that. Like I would be willing to do that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not comparing myself to Jesus or anything like that. I'm just saying like I understand that sacrifice. You know, like I would be willing to do that for the people that I love.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like Jesus Christ loves us all that much that he did that, you know, and God loves us all that much that he was willing to give his only son, right? That's a gift, you know, and if you look at the Old Testament and Jewish law and things like that, it was very doctrinal, right? It was practices. You do this to show that you're faithful, right? When Jesus came and died for us, we no longer have to do that, right? It was more like we're going to go, and I think I wrote that, we're going to go find the people that need him, right? That's why this podcast is called Shattered Darkness, because our calling as Christians is to go find the people that don't know about him and share it with him and give him the option to receive it if they want to, you know? And so my faith, it helps me live outside myself, right? Like I remember telling you this when we first started this podcast, you know, I think you were struggling with faith. And I asked you, I was like, well, so you know exactly what you're capable of, you know? And it was, I think you kind of looked at me a little confused, and dude, faith puts us in places that we never thought we could be, right? It elevates you. It gives you the motivation, the strength, I guess, to get up and do things that are way outside your comfort zone, you know, and then that leads to opportunities, things, places that you just never knew you could be, right? And so I believe that Jesus, God, the Holy Spirit knows exactly what I'm capable of. And it's my responsibility to say yes to those things in my life.
You should go read James 4. Yeah, read through James 4. In my Bible study, we were talking about this on Tuesday, that you need to let go of your earthly self and meet God where he is so that he can help you through all this.
See, and
not living so earthly. And I think that's kind of what, paraphrasing what that specific verse was. But what I interpreted as is many hands make light work. And I immediately thought about this and helping everybody with this is it's not about, it could be anybody. It could be the freaking doorknob or Neil Diamond or whatever. Just give up some of your ego to allow someone to help you along this journey.
Or the other way around. Help somebody else along the journey.
Well, and then in turn that helps you. Like helping people makes you feel so
If it fills, if it
good.
fills your soul.
And a lot of people that we've had on this podcast who are not religious in the same way that most people are, they're the ones that are out there freaking doing it and being sponsors and all that. And I think that feeling is the exact same. What you call it and define it is everybody's own prerogative.
Right. You know, and that's, I'll say this too, because it's confusing, right? Like for the longest time, leadership was spoken over my life. My whole life, I felt like, okay, I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to be a leader, right? Like I believed that. It's been spoken over me by pastors and churches and people in spiritual leadership, you know, and dude, I didn't figure out what that was until I was 39 years old, 38 years old, right? Like it's very confusing. So if you're sitting here like, oh my gosh, what is bigger than me? What can I believe? What have you been through? What traumas in your life have you been through? What do you understand? What darkness in your life do you understand that you could go and help other people through? Mm-hmm. That's it, right? Like my wife had 2 insanely nasty births with both of our kids. The first one, she got sepsis. The second one, she hemorrhaged. She almost died both times, you know, and that was obviously extremely traumatic for her. And she's like, the other day we're talking and she's like, I don't have something like sobriety. And I'm like, you do. Your births, you know, that was trauma. Like you went through some super traumatic shit. Why don't you talk to other moms? Share that. Tell them about that. Pray with them, coach them, you know, share your experiences, you know, and I was like, that's your platform, dude. So whatever trauma you've been through in your life, if it's sexual abuse, you know, if it's physical abuse, if it's anything like that, like identify that. Don't hide from those things. It wasn't your fault, right? If it happened to you as a young kid, it wasn't your fault. Like, you know, like you have to find the strength in yourself to go face those things, right? And then I love the faith piece because once you face it, you can give it up. And it doesn't have to be a part of your life anymore, right? You can remove that through counseling, through prayer, through faith, through whatever, you know, you can remove those things from your life and get healing for those. And through that process is where I feel like you'll truly start to discover what's in your heart.
And that's a good point. Just to kind of give some context. I don't really like talking about me all that much, but that was a big thing for me. I still held on to the guilt of all the shitty shit I did.
Yeah.
And then the second I found Christ was like, oh, okay, now I can let this go because that's what he's there for.
Yeah. You know, I think the biggest reason that people have a problem with Jesus Christ is because it requires something of us. You know,
all that and the other bullshit too.
Well, and I get that it can be a tall tale, you know, but so is the Big Bang Theory. I mean, everything's fucking crazy, you know, but I don't know, man.
Same as 14 genders.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
Sorry if that offended someone.
I don't really fucking care.
Yeah. But there's more than 14. I did that to fuck with you.
There's actually 21. So anyways, pillar number 3 is faith. And I think, right, faith because it gets us out of ourselves. It gets our belief system, our mind, it elevates us to a place that is higher than where we are at right now.
Yep.
You know, and then it takes you to places that you just never could have imagined that you could go to. This is something cool I wrote. The people in history that we admire today weren't cowards. They were steadfast in their mission, and a lot of them died for it. Unyielding men and women are easy to follow and inspirational. Find something in your life that you are willing to die for and go live for it.
Yep.
That's faith. Have faith in it. Have faith that you can change it. You know, I'm not saying have faith in Jesus Christ, but have faith in something that is bigger than you. Number 3, faith.
Yep.
Number 4, these I did not define because I didn't get that far, but community. I actually did this one, but it says a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals.
Yep. Which I think is that's one of the raddest things that I've been learning about AA is the whole sponsorship and sponsee thing.
Yeah.
And I love that. You know, especially with how awesome Morgan and Irene are at this dude, they're all in with helping their people.
Yeah, man.
And it's it's so sweet.
Yeah.
And I kind of picked up a couple people along the way that it's really cool to have these conversations. I just had another one yesterday. This guy called me just out of the blues. This person I bumped into a couple months ago, and all of a sudden he hits me up. Hey man, I'm struggling. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
not
what it's
awesome
all-
struggling, but
No,
awesome.
but that's what it's all about, right? Like the struggle is always going to be there. Always. I mean, I've been sober for almost a year, and I just got in one of the worst arguments with my wife the other day. Like this shit doesn't go away. Right. And that's why I think this community piece is so huge, because how do you find longevity in this? Right. If you are a solo soldier, you're by yourself, and you can do that and stay sober, like, dude, you might be one of the strongest people on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I cannot do that. If I'm left in a room to myself with nothing to do, I'm going to make bad choices. Period. Like that's, if it's available, I'm probably going to do it.
How bad do you want to be sober then? That's a question.
Exactly. Right. So I want to be sober. I realize how much damage it has on my family. That's why I brought my family into it. Right. I created a community with my brother and my wife and my children and my parents of support. Right. And now we're at a different place in our life with our sobriety and our journeys. Right. And we're creating a community of people that are sober, that have had years of sobriety. Right. And I think that piece is important, because now we're accountable to that, right? I'm accountable to the people on this podcast. I'm sitting here on a microphone sharing ways that I think you could live a better life. And if I'm doing these, right? Like I have to do these things too. So that community creates accountability, right? And for me, that's motivational, right? Like that gives me the motivation to keep going. Plus I feel fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So that's where the community piece, right? And then you get the chance to pour into other people, dude. And that is what I think is where the rubber meets the road. Is where you start to pour into other people. You start to make these soul connections, and then you start to lift people out of their shit. And I'll tell you, nothing feels better than that.
Yep.
So that's where the community piece comes in. Yeah. The next one is service.
Yep. Next one, service, man. And these two, that's why I like that we put these two right behind each other.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Because they all like really lead into each other. Faith really brings into community. And then now what do you do with our community?
Right.
You serve it.
You serve the people around you.
Yep.
Right. Our goal, our mission with Shattered Darkness, with Clean and Sober, with all of this stuff, what our mission is to destigmatize sobriety, completely destigmatize it, champion people through the rehab process, get that shit out of their body, and then help them get connected to their purpose, their community, a way to serve, right? All of that stuff. So I love that too. And I agree. I almost did these as one, but I split them up because they're so different. A feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common interests, attitudes, and goals, community. Service is now getting down to the nitty gritty, right? Going into those people's lives, helping them, supporting their businesses, right? Supporting your community that you live in. We just adopted 300 acres as a service group to maintain throughout the year, right? Clean up trash, make it a fun place for people to come to be outside. That's service. There's a story, I'm going to botch this story. And I don't remember where I read it, but it was about Abraham Lincoln. And I think it was like post-Civil War, all that kind of crazy stuff. But these two guys came to Abraham Lincoln and they're like, we don't have jobs. The economy sucks. We're pissed at you because the country is in shambles, whatever. You freed the slaves. We don't know what to do with ourselves. And what he told them was go serve. Just go serve. Just go help other people. Get out of your own way and put yourself in other people's shoes in their life, right? So one guy just started going around cleaning up people's properties. And lo and behold, he becomes the number one landscaping company when the economy comes back. The other guy started going around and fixing people's broken shoes, right? And lo and behold, all doing all this for free, right? Serving their community. And then when things changed, they were able to start businesses and people knew who they were. right? They knew them. They had served that community. They had served those people. They had put themselves outside of themselves and into somebody else's situation.
It's awesome.
Right? That is service. Plus, it gets us out of our own way, right? That's why we adopted 300 acres outside. It's outside. It's beautiful. It's sunny. We live in Colorado, right? I want to get people outside, out of their dungeons of addiction, out of their darkness, out of that stuff into the light, right? That's where I feel like the service piece comes in. And it connects you to those people that you're serving with, right? It helps you create those long-lasting relationships.
I love that.
So
I think some of that too, when you see that service helping you out, you really, I mean, everybody's different, but you really can't take it for granted, man.
That, and I think it lights something up in a lot of people, right? Like, oh my gosh, these people were willing to do these things for me, right? To slow their life down and step into my bullshit. Like, you almost feel like it's a requirement that you have to go out and do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I would say in sobriety, it absolutely is a requirement, to go and serve, sponsor other people, share your story, do speaker meetings, get on our podcast, be vulnerable, right? Share that stuff. That's what's going to draw people to you. That's what's going to make you that authentic place to come. And
some people don't have that ability though. So I'm sitting here trying to think of, people that don't public speak and people aren't in these jobs or just terrified of that. I wonder, like, even just latching on to people, just a person to just exchange texts with, hey, how you doing today? Everything good? Right. Maybe just speak to your experience. I think that's a good way to start too. And that's someone to just communicate with them if you're not comfortable with, what you just said.
Right.
It's all good. I mean, I wasn't calling you out, but it's like, no, I think that's there's not everybody that is able to lead.
Of course. They want to. Of course. And you know what, dude, like,
leadership, you can lead in much different ways.
And I see what exactly. I see what you're saying too. And dude, I truly believe that we were all programmed for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
Right. Like, not predestination, things like that. We have free will and choice and things like that, but I do believe that we are all very good at certain things, right? Like, we all have a secret talent. Mine is lighting up a room. Mine is making people feel comfortable. Mine is drawing things out of people that, they maybe didn't want to do or whatever, or that's my gift. My gift is people. My gift is communicating. Your gift may not, my gift is leading by example, right? Like, your gift may not be that, right? Your gift may be you're a silent prayer warrior who people can come to and be like, hey, will you pray for me? Or it could be like you're insanely good with your hands and doing construction. If that's the case, I got projects for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, whatever that thing is, that's where we go back to personal accountability, right? Like, this is where I think you start to develop that thing, right? In you that is like, oh my gosh, I believe so much in this. Maybe you're a musician. Use your talents for good.
Right.
Use them for good. Impact other people's lives with your God-given talent.
Yep.
Boom. Okay. How far into this are we?
Oh, we got time for discipline.
Discipline. Okay. I actually went farther than discipline. Self-discipline. This one's self-discipline. I want this to be self-discipline because it causes us to point the finger at us, right? It automatically starts here. You hear the word self and you're like, okay, I'm talking to myself here. It's me, myself, and I, right? So self-discipline. I'm going to admit right now, this is my biggest struggle. Biggest. I have created so many bad habits in my life, staying up too late, sometimes smoking weed at night, not working out, getting up too late, right? I've created these bad habits in my life that are not serving the overall goal, right? And it is very hard for me to change those things. I started doing 75 hard. I'm 3 days into it, and now it's become 75 soft, right? Because it's like, I can't work. I'm not going to work out twice a day. Like, you start to make these excuses, right?
That's an excuse.
It is an excuse.
You can go back to 75 hard.
100%.
Dude,
Right.
the outside workout could be a 30-minute walk with that yapping dog. Dude.
See, and that's the exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it is possible. And I was reading the intro to Mel Robbins' "Let Them" theory, and she explains it in this 5 4 3 2 1. Right? She wrote a book on it. It's called what did she call it? What's the name of the book? 5 4 3 2 1. The 5-second rule. That's what it's called. And it's all about that, right? It's combating that laziness. It's combating that fear. It's combating that and be like, okay, in 5 seconds, I'm just going to get up and do the thing.
Yep.
Right. And so that's what I've been applying that, like, okay, 5 4 3. And at 1, you move, period. You don't think about it. You don't do this. You just move. Right. It puts you right in that moment right there. And yeah, dude. But at the same time, it's my biggest struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so good at making excuses, at procrastinating.
Don't single yourself out. Everybody has it.
Exactly.
Everybody has their things. It's just not letting yourself stray too far away from the path.
Right. So, and I think that's why it's our last one, because I think self-discipline is so important. And it's something, honestly, like, I got bailed out of a lot of negative situations that I shouldn't have been. You know, I should have had to learn a harder lesson than I did. Had I had a little bit more self-discipline, you know, I'd been taught that or practiced that more in my life, I don't think I would have made some of the decisions that I did. Mm-hmm. But this is key too. You know, if you're not willing to look at yourself and say, okay, these are the areas that I need more discipline in, then, you know, it's a daily thing, right? And there's got to be grace inside of that too, right? Like, I'm not beating myself up for not working out twice a day, right? I'm deciding to look at the fact that I'm working out at least once a day, and I'm getting up earlier in the morning, and I'm starting my day earlier. You know what? That's a fucking win, right? Look at that. Okay, now break that down. Where can I find more self-discipline inside that? Get up earlier, add that second workout, drink that second 32 ounces of water every day, right? Like 5 4 3 2 1, just fucking do it.
That's the thing too with the discipline thing, is not, like you said, not beating yourself up after one thing and then, oh, fuck it, done.
Yeah,
I lasted
dude,
3 days and 74 hours. Might as well not do it anymore. This is
the thing that Mel Robbins said that I was like, I loved. God damn it, I'm gonna have to read it out of the book because I can't remember. It keeps coming back to me in like short little bursts.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about this while you're looking it up, though, is having discipline is the biggest form of self-love. That's an important thing.
Totally. Absolutely, man.
And if you're disciplined, in my definition of it, which maybe not be real, is not giving up. So if you miss a workout, discipline is getting up and making sure you work out tomorrow.
Dude, this is something Jerry Seinfeld. So Jerry Seinfeld writes 100 jokes a day, right? That's his thing. Like, that's what's made him successful. And he said, he's like, do I do it every day? He's like, sometimes I miss a day, but I never miss 2 days.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, and that's where it's like, there's grace inside of that, but there's also a shitload of self-discipline. Mm-hmm. Man,
discipline can be made easy. Like, how bad do you want it? Like, really?
This is what it was. The crazy thing about life is it's not that complicated, right? I know exactly what I need to do to be a successful real estate agent, to be successful at selling roofs for this company, to be a successful father, husband, all of that. I know what to do.
Yep.
Self-discipline helps you put in the practices to do those things.
It helps remove excuses.
Right.
So many times, people who are undisciplined, they'll be the biggest complainers.
I agree.
Big time. It's really, really easy to just sit there and complain. Oh, I couldn't get this done because of this. And I'm still thinking about that race, dude. This is kind of where I'm challenging myself too, is, you know, I could have got more than 76 miles. I know I could have. And that's what's really freaking hard. You know, same thing. Like, you.
But now you have a baseline and a place to grow from.
Sure. And I'm not going to kill myself over it, but it's the same thing of, yeah, I'm going to kill myself in my training to make sure that 100 miles is easy. Because this is going to sound fucked up. doing that 75 miles was easy.
Just one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. Could have gotten 100. And yeah, I could.
Let me ask you this. Why didn't you?
Well, I gave the pain in my right foot a voice. Too much of a voice than it should have. And when Naya and them left at 10:30, you know, it's a lot of what you do behind closed doors.
You're isolated.
You know, it's like, okay, what does it matter if Naya's there or if I'm there? You're still going to go hard. It's still going to hurt. You're still going to have that pain. And so I walked more than I should have, right? Run walking, right? I walked basically through the night, you know, after they left. I was still moving, so I'll still give myself credit for that. But it's like, that's kind of the discipline piece is you were so good here, you're mentally tuned in, and then just because something happens, you let something else go. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And, you know, same thing too with like, let's just go day-to-day stuff, easy things that people can relate to. You know, work, what are you supposed to do? Like, how often are you on your phone? Look at that screen time. You want to talk about discipline? Pop open that screen time.
Yeah.
That's fucking discipline.
Unless you use your phone for work.
It breaks down if it's games, if it's social media, if it's actually work.
Mine's probably a lot of social media.
It's not uncommon. Yeah. Same thing with me, you know?
I know. And that's like, I have to force myself, you know, a lot of times to do these things. I want to define self-discipline because this is actually pretty fucking awesome. So the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses. The ability to pursue what one thinks is right despite the temptation to abandon it.
Yep.
Dude, marinate on that for a minute. Mm-hmm. That's an awesome definition. And
it's simple though. Do you want it or not? Yeah. Period.
See, and that's the thing with all of this, dude, like that I'm learning, right? Like I went through this, I got sober. It's amazing. My life is so much better. And so it's like, I see both sides of it, right? And so to the person that's still in the gutter, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Right? Like, how can you still be there? Right? Like all this is over here, but I made the same choices, you know? So, and you can't force somebody to make that choice, right? All of this has to come from inside of you. It has to come from a place of, honestly, like I'm just disgusted with myself and I want to change my life, you know? And it's got to be, and you can tell, you know, you could always tell when there was court ordered people in the recovery room or if they were there on their own, you know? So if you want this, we're here. We are going to hammer down on these 6 pillars. And again, to recap them, the first one is vulnerability. The second one is personal accountability. The third one is faith. The fourth one is community. The fifth one is service. And the sixth one is self-discipline. We start to master those things in our life. Dude, our lives are going to be so full. You're going to have, and focus on the moment, right? Focus on where you're at in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, don't worry about the future. My cousin just started a business and he's freaking out because he's never started a business before. And he's future tripping, right? Like, and I'm like, bro, you got to dial that all back to today, right? What small habits can you create today that are going to serve that vision, right? Me getting up late in the morning, getting to my office at 8:30, 9 o'clock instead of 7.
Where's your office?
In my fucking house, right? Like those are all excuses. Like that doesn't serve my overall goal, right? So it requires self-discipline to look at that. That's a weakness inside of me, right? So I've got to go practice that. I've got to go flex that muscle of like, nope, dude, you're working out twice today, right? You're taking the dog on. I don't give a shit if it's fucking snowing outside. You're going.
You know what's really good about 75 Hard, dude, is you can still get in the office at 9.
Bro,
but you have all that time in the morning that now you can make this work.
Well, and this is the crazy thing. So I got up Monday, 5 o'clock, Tuesday, 6 o'clock, today, 6:30, right? Fuck that. 3 days in, I'm already making these excuses. See, and the thing in all of this is like, I suck at self-discipline. I haven't practiced it in my life for a very long time, right? And now I'm starting to see the pitfalls from that. So it's time for me to start identifying the weaknesses in Mitch Benner, right? One of them is procrastination. If I will procrastinate to the nth degree, dude. And then and if I'm doing something, I'm very good at what I do, but I create so much anxiety and stress by not just getting it done.
Dude, that's where anxiety comes from, is all the stuff that you got to do and not doing it.
So Monday I get up at 5. I even sat on social media for 20 minutes. I'll be honest. I scrolled through Facebook because that's my weird addiction right now. We're posting all this stuff and I'm always excited to see how people are engaging in it. So I sat there and then I was like, all right, dude, get up, came in my office, made a cup of coffee, read 10 pages and went straight into my garage and worked out for 45 minutes.
Nice.
And I got all of it. And then I made breakfast and I had breakfast with my kids. I did all of that by 7:00.
That's fucking crazy, right?
Right. Dude, I could have done it all in an hour if I wanted to.
I could have had a half a gallon of water by then too.
It's for real. You know what I'm saying?
Don't take it that I'm not saying you did enough, but
I
just
didn't
imagine.
But I didn't. And that's the thing, dude. And why do I struggle to get up in the morning? Because I love being up by myself at night. Right? I love that time. It's my selfish time. Right? And that's where it's like, and dude, at times I'd be like, fuck, I don't want to go to bed because I don't want this time to end. Right? Like that's how my brain works, and that is an honest depiction of my evenings. 7:30, 8:00, the kids go to bed and I've got 4 hours to do whatever I want. The rest of the day is dictated by everybody else, things, work, kids, wife, right? But how important is living a healthy life? How important are these 6 pillars to me?
Bro, flip the script, dude.
We're about to
make your day about you and how you can impact people's lives.
Exactly. See, it's a mindset thing. It's self-discipline. It's all of those kinds of things, right? That's why I love these 6 pillars, because I just feel like they all flow like a perfect little stream right downhill, dude. We practice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. The rest, those are the small details, right? That's what I told my cousin. Focus on the details. The devil's in the details. Master the details and the big shit will take care of itself.
I'm excited for you in your 75 hard journey, dude.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I won't fit in the camera screen. That'd be awesome. I'm all bulky and huge and shit.
Well, it's a good thing you got 2 doors, dude. You might not fit through one.
That's not gonna happen. But
I'm excited for you, man.
I quit vaping too. I mean, I'm still using nicotine.
Dude, stop that shit. It is it's a crutch.
I know.
Same thing as alcohol, man.
One step at a time, homie.
Yep. That's exactly how I got to 75 miles, and I still feel like I could have done better.
And so that's the thing with all of this stuff. Nobody's ever going to do it perfectly, ever. And Aaron's sitting over here on his fucking high horse. I'm just kidding.
Oh, fuck no, dude. No way, dude. I'm the most vulnerable.
I'm just
hard. Same thing, dude. But it's easy to see it in other people, and I'm your cheerleader.
Totally, dude.
But this is how it is, dude. Men, we need to talk to each other straight. Girls can go do all that other stuff, but I found like there's 2 people, and one of them is going to be on our podcast in a little bit. When he started talking to me like I'm talking to you, it's so much simpler.
I'm excited.
Yeah, just don't do it.
So, and we're going to get people on here that can really speak more into these topics, but these are the pillars that, and we'll start to put out content. I want to do a journal. I want to do like a 40-day journal. We've been asked to write a program for the 40-day fight with Dan Hardy. So we're going to do some cool stuff with all of this, but this just puts a structure to what we're doing. It gives you something tangible as a listener to go out and be like, okay, I'm going to start trying to, and dude, if you don't do them in order, who gives a fuck?
Right. It's your personal journey. Find it, or just do one of them. Stick with community. Who cares?
Just do something. That's something I learned in real estate. You don't have to do everything, but you do need to do something.
Yeah.
Right. And the best way to get out of your own way is to go serve. Go be around other people, and go listen to other people's stories. Go listen to how fucked up other people's lives are. All of a sudden, your shit doesn't seem so bad.
No, you fit right in.
Exactly. So, anyways, we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much. We will be talking more about our 6 pillars as we move forward. We love you. Click like, subscribe.
Yeah, God bless.
Follow. God bless you guys. And if you need anything at all, anything whatsoever, you can reach out to us at shattereddarkness5@gmail.com. Shattered Darkness Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the good stuff. Leave comments. We love it. We love you guys. You're awesome. We'll see you next time.